Are you in truck driving school or are you trying to get your CDL and you went to go test and they told you that you're missing the training, a training called ELDT, which is entry level driver training? It's happened to quite a few people and I get calls every day finding out what is it. It's a new mandated FMCSA training. It's called entry level driver training. And today I'm going to go over all things ELDT. How does it apply to you and how do you go through this process so you can move forward with getting your CDL? Hey friends, my name is Charlene Arnold, aka the CDL Queen, your favorite CDL examiner. I am a state certified CDL examiner and I help people pass their CDL test on the first try. So I'm here to educate you so that you won't run into these same barriers when it's your turn to get your CDL, or if you've already been through this, I can explain to you what happened and probably why you didn't know anything about it. It's perfectly normal to have not known this. This is fairly new as of February 2022. Let's get into it. Now, what exactly is the ELDT? It is the entry-level driver training requirement. It's a standardized training that is now required through FMCSA. They wanted to streamline the whole truck driving process and the training because there was a rise in accidents. So with that being said, they implemented a training and it is like 30 modules that you have to go through before you can test at the DMV. So there is two parts to the ELDT, and a lot of people are getting stuck because they are going online and seeing that there is an opportunity to take the ELDT online, but they're failing one part. So what happens is that ELDT is actually two parts. So there is the theory training, and then there is behind the wheel. So the theory training is what you see when you go online. You know, once someone tells you you need ELDT, you go online and you find so many people that are offering the theory. Theory is classroom instruction and it can be done via online. So it's very attractive to get it done online. You pay something and they send you the app and then you get a certificate. Well, the problem with that is that ELDT, you've only done half of it. So you still have the same problem you had before, that you're not complete. And then people take the ELDT training and then they go back to the DMV and then they find out that they're still not compliant. And it's causing them to, be frustrated, long waits. Sometimes there's scheduling issues, especially over here in Dallas where I am. It's a whole mess on their hands. And it's for a training that they didn't even know that was required of them. So I see a lot of frustrated people and I get calls every day regarding this matter. So besides the theory, which is the classroom portion, classroom instruction or online, which is kind of like the written part, it's the 30 modules. Then you have a whole series of behind the wheel that you have to complete. And that's when you're actually doing the hands-on. So you have to do the range, which is like in a parking lot, maneuvering around cones and just really getting mastering handling a commercial vehicle. And a certain criteria with that. And then once you're comfortable with that, or you master that part, and then you actually go on the road. So it's two parts to the behind the wheel. There is the range and there is on the road that also have to be completed prior to you being able to test for your commercial license. Now, both the range and the behind the wheel, they normally average about 40 hours each. So it's like 2 weeks for the behind the wheel portion of it. And again, you have to successfully complete each area or master it before you're signed off on to move on to the next one. And again, it's just for safety reasons. They want to make sure that you're comfortable enough to drive this commercial vehicle, and that in the event that there is an emergency, that you know how to safely identify that an emergency is happening, and then you know what to do in the event of an emergency. The next area is about the ELDT is who is required to have it. How do you know it's you, or what made you be the one to have it? So what happens is if you've never had a CDL before and it's your first time getting a commercial driver's license, you have to have the entry-level driver training. If you are upgrading a driver's license, say you already have a commercial license, say you have a class B, which is for like straight trucks, box trucks, or even buses like transit drivers or Greyhound drivers, that's a straight vehicle, so that's a class B. And you want to transfer over to commercial vehicles where that's two vehicles, so that's a tractor and a trailer. That's an upgrade to your license. And again, you'll have to have training for that. So anytime that there is a change to your license, you will have to have additional training. And because now of the new mandate, you'll have to have the ELDT training for the type of transfer that you are trying to make, or for the type of license that you're trying to obtain. If you're trying to get endorsements, say you're getting a passenger endorsement, there's the ELDT training for that. Remember, entry-level driver training for passenger endorsement and for hazardous materials. So before you spend the money, going to a truck driving school, you need to make sure that the school that you're requesting to go to is FMCSA qualified to give you the credentials that you need. Because truck driving school is about $5,000 or somewhere in that neighborhood, and you want to make sure that the facility that you go to is approved by FMCSA. And the way that you do that is you go on fmcsa.gov and you look up TPR, which is Training Provider Registry, and I'll leave the link down in the comments so you'll know how to go about finding it. And then you make sure that they're on there, because you don't want to go through school and then find out that your school that you went to does not qualify, that you still have to get the instruction, because no one can waive that. So you want to make sure that you look at that. And again, I'll give you the instructions in the comments so you know exactly how to go about doing that. And remember also that you can do the truck driving school will give you the theory portion as well. So you don't have to pay separate for an online service. So if you see it online, don't worry. It's up to you, but you don't need to worry about that, because the school is going to have to teach you anyway. The theory portion of it, which is a classroom style instruction, again, it can be online or it can be in person. And it just, goes over basic control skills, hours of service, vehicle inspections, pre-trip inspections, which is major important, which is a huge part of the whole premise for the ELDT training. Again, safety. You want to make sure that, if you know a vehicle is safe, or what makes a critical item unsafe. And, you'll be hammered in knowing exactly how to safely operate a vehicle, or know when a vehicle is not safe to operate, which is just equally important. Now, the entry-level driver training is not just about checking a box. It's about making sure that you master areas, whether it's the backing, the turning curve, so you're safely making sure cargo securement, securing a cargo, knowing the weight limits, what makes a vehicle overweight, how to properly load a vehicle so that the weight is evenly distributed. What are the weight requirements? What about the tires? What should they be inflated to? How do you know if there's a problem with the tire? Does the tire evenly wear? Is there bulges on it? Is it properly inflated? There's so many critical items to make sure that a vehicle is safe, especially a commercial vehicle is safe before you take it on the road. So this entry-level driver training, I hope that you would take the time to just really take it all in and really understand what it is, because your safety is important, and making sure that you have the critical items, that you understand what items are critical and what makes them critical. And so that way, if the item is safe or if it's unsafe. And remember, when you go and take your exam, make sure, number one, that you went to a facility that's FMCSA certified. Other than that, the time does not count, and that's money down the drain. You were been trained, but you would not have gotten the credentials that are needed. So that is definitely your responsibility. So, and again, I'll put that in the comments on how to check that. And then and make sure that you're in a representative vehicle. So if you're getting if you're going for a Class A commercial license, when you go to test, make sure that you're in a commercial vehicle that fits the class that you're trying to obtain. So whether it's a passenger vehicle, that it has to be at least 15 passenger seats plus the driver's seat, or if it's a commercial vehicle, it has to be two, a combination. If you need a manual restriction, lift it, make sure that you're in a standard vehicle, or if you're in an automatic, know that you'll have an automatic restriction. You'll have a manual restriction, that you won't be able to drive a manual vehicle. So make sure that you're in a vehicle that represents the class and the type of commercial license that you're trying to obtain. Now, I know that all of this is a lot of information and it can be somewhat overwhelming. And as a CDL examiner, I definitely understand that. Like I said, this is the space that I operate in, so I get it. But like I said, this is not your everyday language. This can sound like foreign to you. But what I did was I created a program, just a free CDL training, and I even set up my own course. It's called the Accelerator, CDL Accelerator. And I'll put the link for that in the bio as well. If you want to go through that, that could kind of help give you some guidance. Because remember, I'm an examiner. So I have the CDL manual, examiner's manual. But like I said, obviously I couldn't share this with you. But so that's why I created my own, something that I can share to different applicants, just to make sure that you're aware of the procedures, processes, and procedures to help you safely get your CDL. But anyway, I'll put the link to my program that I have. It's just a short program, but it's full of great knowledge and insights that can probably help you get across the finish line as far as getting your CDL, or at least get you in the right direction. And so it's going to be under bit.ly.passwithcharlene.com. And I have the pre-trip checklist, and I have the workbook, and I actually have the course. It's called the Accelerator. And again, I'll put all that down in the comments in case you will need that, maybe further down the road. I hope this information was kind of helpful for you. I'll continue to put more tips here. So make sure you like and follow me and turn your notifications on. And you'll get notified when I drop more information. But I'm just here to make sure that you can get your CDL without, less barriers as possible. Because again, like I said, I know that this is so many moving parts, and to try and lock it all in, for a new industry, a new career, I know it can be, overwhelming at times, but you're on the right track. You're here, you found me, you have your own personal examiner at your fingertips. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments below and I'll get back to you on that. Again, or you can go to the my bit.ly at your CDL journey starts here. And again, I'll put everything in the comments, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And if no one has told you today, you are awesome and amazing. I just want you guys to know you got this. You're in the right place. You found your own examiner. So you're doing pretty good today, if you ask me. Like I said, you can download my free CDL checklist. Any questions that you have, turn your notifications on, and I will definitely be dropping more gems for you. If no one has told you today, like I said, you're awesome and amazing, and you got this. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your day. All praises to the Most High, and let's get you CDL certified. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. All right, bye, guys.